It is Friday. We had BCA-101, Introduction to Computers. These are the things we covered. We reviewed terms. We talked about network design, talked about topologies, a little bit on defining the internet, a little bit on web work, and we logged into the other OS. Ran over a little bit. Talked briefly about completing assignment 4. Right? That was due Friday night. We are in, this is finishing week number 9. And it is day 26 if I have it added up correctly. So the first thing we did was we listed some terms using poll everywhere, and the students mentioned switching. So we're going to talk about that here in a little bit. So first of all, we do a little review. Talked about the PCs connected into the network. We didn't repeat the whole network. We talked about the firewall and some connection. This one is where the wireless goes. This one's where the wired goes into the internet. And we talked about a couple protocols on the internet. TCP, UDP. And the internet's a packet switching network. So what happens is a PC creates these packets. Inside the packets is an IP address. Okay, there's one for the PC in there, and then there's one IP for where it's going. Those packets then hit routing devices. Like this multi-layered switch has routing capabilities. So it looks at the packet and it says, does the packet belong this way or this way? And whichever way it belongs, it sends it. When it gets in the internet routers do the same thing. They look at a packet and they say which is the best direction to get it where it's going. For example, is it going to Facebook? And then eventually they work the packets down so they go into Facebook. Facebook looks at all the packets, put them in order, figures out what it is, and if you're requesting a page, let's just arbitrarily say you're requesting a web page, then it sends the information back out in the internet. And it uses the destination IP to get it back to our internet service provider, sends it into here. This router decides, does it belong here or here? And then it switches the packet to where it belongs. Comes back into our browser, and we now can see that such and such posted something on Facebook. Same thing occurs from your phone when you're connecting, and it creates the packets, and the packets are kept track of by those. Actually, we talked about 2 major type of addresses. Physical address gets the packets to your specific device, and the logical, which is the IP address, switches the packets through the networks where they belong. So when this AP gets a packet back, it actually uses a combination of those two. Then eventually it sees the physical address and sends it to my phone instead of somebody else's phone on the Wi-Fi. Just like packets coming in here to the college, this routing device, does it go over to this room, or actually buildings? This building, when it gets in the room, the routing device, this one, looks at the physical address and pushes it out to the device it belongs to. there's not a lot of Tier 1 providers. AT&T, Verizon, Sprint, those make up Tier 1 providers, and they share information amongst themselves at no charge. And then what they do is they allow internet service providers to connect into their networks. They charge them, internet service provider charges us. The other thing these providers can do is they can take and supply you a connection between two locations. Large businesses like Walmart and so forth, they connect all their networks through a service provider. Let me see if I can do that a little better. A service provider, and you pay them, like Verizon or any of these Tier 1s that are connected together, and you can pay them to link from here to here. Later on, we'll talk about linking through the internet to do that. Okay, so then we looked at a public IP that accesses the web server that's actually in the room. Web server's in the room. Last name, first initial, middle initial, and then IT Spring 2018. And we did a little web work. The other thing we did was we logged into a different operating system on the computers. We rebooted, and then we logged in to the networking, and this was the password we used on the networking side. On Monday we have a project that will push your thinking a little bit in terms of some of these initial stuff we're talking about for communications. That's it.